హాయ్ జయమరియప్పన్ గణపతి సిఎఫ్ఏ మారికి టెక్నాలజీ ఇంకా పర్సనల్ ఫైనాన్స్ పెట్టుబడి రంగాల్లో దశాబ్దాల అనుభవం ఉంది. మరియు అతను సమత్వ వెల్త్ మేనేజ్మెంట్ ఎల్ఎల్సి రిజిస్టర్డ్ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ అడ్వైజర్ సంస్థను స్థాపించారు. పర్సనల్ ఫ్యామిలీ స్మాల్ ఇండస్ట్రీస్ కి కావాల్సిన ఫైనాన్షియల్ టిప్స్ ని ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ ప్లాన్స్ ని అందించడానికి ఇప్పుడు మనతో ఉన్నారు. మరిన్ని వివరాలను ఆయన అడిగి తెలుసుకుందాం. గణపతి గారు జాన్ హాప్కిన్స్ విశ్వవిద్యాలయం నుంచి ఎంబీఏ చేశారు. ప్రస్తుతం అతను స్టార్ట్అప్ ఇగ్నైట్ డీసీలో ప్రముఖ సలహాదారుగా ఉన్నారు. హలో అండి మారి గారు.
Hello.
Yes. Like for a decades, like you have great experience in finance and also like personal investments and family investments, right? So all these years, what is that one thing you have learned?
Yeah, so based on my experience, so as you said, I'm helping thousands of families in the USA. So one thing I've noticed, unfortunately, the women who are living in the USA, they are not taking the personal finance as their importance in their family. And because of that, I'm seeing many family, it's getting affected, impacted, particularly women.
I mean, why is it really critical for the families to involve spouses, especially in USA, while living in USA?
Yeah, so why it is important? Because first of all, we are all first generation movers. So we don't have the family, the networking here, not like in India. So if something happens to the breadwinner, let's say the husband, right? Now the woman or the wife or the spouse has to handle the home mortgage, because most of us here living in the US has own a home, but it's a mortgage, right? You have to repay the loan. So they need to know how to handle that. Otherwise, the bank will foreclose that property. Then they have to handle all the investment accounts. So typically, when the breadwinner works for a company, they sign up for a 401k, which is similar to Provident Fund in India. It's a retirement saving. So you need to know how to handle the 401k, IRA, any brokerage funds, and real estate management, and any short-term investments, and how to claim the life insurance. And you have to claim the social security. Let's say if you have a minor kids, the US government under the social security, they provide some benefits to the minor kids. And more importantly, there are a lot of financial scams happen. So if the women didn't have a understanding how the personal finance works, they will get scammed easily. So that's why it's very important for women to know the personal finance. So that's why I think they need to involve from the day one. So that's my request.
Right. Before going into deep diving, we just want to know why financial planning is really important while living in US.
Yeah. So the reason why it's very important is most of the families, husband and wife, are working. So as soon as your income crosses above $90,000, you will be taxed at 22% at the federal level, and also there will be a tax at the state level. So sometime they may end up paying easily 30%, 40% of your income to your taxes. But many of them don't understand, even if you could save like $10,000 tax savings and put it in index fund, that's over a 30-year, it's going to be worth $1 million. So that itself can easily cover their retirement savings. So many of them don't aware of those strategies, and so they don't include that planning. Then the another thing is, whatever the money they earn, right, they have to make sure that they are spending less than what they earn. Otherwise, they are going to end up getting too many credit card debt or other debt. It can easily collapse their personal finance down the road. They end up become more debtor, and here the credit card interest rate is 25%. So at a 25%, even millionaire can easily get bankrupted at a high interest rate. So that's why the budgeting, the financial planning is very important for the families.
Yeah, but Mari, how do you manage family financial risk?
So it's very simple. Many people didn't aware of that. To manage the risk, I recommend all they need is a term life insurance. So when you buy the term life insurance, the important thing is you have to buy it for the right term. Let's say if you're going to work for next another 30 years, then take at least 30-year term, and also the right coverage amount. Because what I heard mostly they'll say, okay, I'm from India, I have some insurance policy in India, but that's not enough because the amount they have, they'll say maybe like a 50 lakhs or 1 crore, which is not at all enough. So if you are living in US, you need to have a coverage. I would recommend at least 1 million or 1.5 million because the reasons are why you need to have such a higher amount. Because let's say you have two kids, because in US the college expenses are very very high. If you have a two kids, that can easily cost anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000 just the education itself. Then on top of it you have to add your mortgage. Then on top of it you have to add at least 5 years of your family expenses. So if you add that, that will be almost 1.5 million. But getting this term life insurance, the premium is not that high. It's if you are younger, if you are healthy, I'm talking about maybe less than $100. And for women, usually sometimes it's less than $50 because their expectancy life is higher than men. So I would strongly recommend do that. Then another thing is if you have a minor kids under 18, then at a minimum do a will. Again, the will doesn't cost that much. Many of the employer in the US offer legal benefit plan. So if you sign up for the benefit, it's usually they pay like a $5 per month, and you can hire an attorney through that plan and do the will. Because the advantage of the will is you can nominate a guardian for your minor kid. So if something happens, at least they can take the custody until your parents or your relatives from India can come here. And in fact, you can also nominate them as a backup or alternate guardian also. So that's how you manage your family risk. Again, many people think it's very expensive, time consuming, which is not. That's my recommendations.
I mean, why is it really important for the families to include minor kids under 18 years old in the will?
So if you don't do a will and nominate a guardian, then you in US what will happen is the judge, it's called probate court. The judge will decide the custody of the kid. So typically what will happen is they send the minor kids to the foster care. So you do because you didn't have a will and direct who is the guardian, right? So the default option is the judge will send the kids to foster care. Then you have to hire an attorney, then go through the legal process, and many of them, I'm not sure if they know, the lawyer fees, the attorney fees are very very expensive in the US, and it's time consuming too. And particularly if you have an asset, it's called probate process, then you are going to end up spending even $50,000, $100,000 over many years, and it can easily add a lot of legal challenges down the road. So that can be avoided by planning and doing these documents in advance.
Format of the will, does this play a major role in doing the will?
Yeah, the format actually in the US, it's very, very easy. It's not that complicated. All you are going to tell in the will is, okay, who is your beneficiaries and who is your guardian and executor of the will. And if you have assets, then there is another document called living trust. There are two type of trusts, revocable and irrevocable. Typically, we recommend a revocable trust so that anytime it can be modified, and you can place all the assets under the trust so that everything comes under the trust ownership. Then you'll assign a trustee, and your minor kids will be the beneficiaries. So by doing that, you don't have to go through this probate process. That means you don't have to hire an attorney to handle that because the trust will handle that as long as you move the assets under the trust name.
Are there any cases that if the will is not written properly or if the will is not done properly, are there any cases that they lost the importance of the will or they lost the categorization of the will?
Correct. See, many cases, many of them don't even do the will. So that's what the challenge is because they don't do the will. And as I said, here their family connections not much. Then the friends has to step in because I help many impacted families. It's very unfortunate the husband or the spouse, they don't share any details to the wife because in the US there is a ID called Social Security number. It's similar to in India Aadhaar card, right? Okay. So similarly here we call it a SSN or Social Security number. So that number is very, very critical because that's how your bank accounts are linked, your tax filing is linked, pretty much everything is linked there. And even many of them even don't even share that number with their spouses, because without that, because here if something happens, the bank will freeze the accounts. Even you cannot even the spouse, if it's not part of the bank account, even they cannot even access a penny, even access a rupee. Nothing can they can do. So that's why having the will and executed it properly. And also you can go to the local county court in the US and register the will also. So that's how they know when you go for the probate process, they will know, okay, the will has been returned for that family.
So, with your experience, I think it's very important to get an awareness about doing the will or like setting up the will, isn't it? So, you would have
Correct.
worked
Yeah.
on it, right? Yeah, Mari. So, you
Yeah.
would have worked on it. So, how far this has reached a success level?
Yeah, as I said, I would say in the US, it's less than 1%, because we have a 5 million Indian families living in the US. Okay. So, but if you ask me how many families have this term life insurance or the will, I would say it's less than 1%. People
Oh,
don't take that seriously. That's my experience. And as I said before, when I'm helping the Indian families, mostly the husband only come to the meetings, 97%. They don't bring the women at all. Basically, if you look at it, that's the culture in back in India, right? So
true.
typically the father handles the finances,
Yeah.
and unfortunately the same tradition is followed here. Even though the women, they're working on Google, Facebook, Fortune 100 companies, they are making tons of money, but when it comes to finance, they kind of outsource to their husband, which is unfortunate.
Right. So coming to the taxes, taxes are the most burden thing for the people who are staying in US, right? Living in the
Yeah.
US. So how do you save taxes? What are the best tips you can give?
Yeah, so that's another area I would like to focus. So as I said, many of them who are living in the US, they when husband and wife both works, their income can be easily more than $250,000. So that means their most bulk of the income is taxed at either 22% at the federal level, and maybe another 10% at the state level. So when you add up, it can easily be 30, 40%. That means they are paying taxes closer to $75,000. Out of the $75,000, as I said, even if they can save $10,000, the good thing is in the US, we call it IRS, they allow legal tools. So as long as you utilize those tools, you can save a lot of taxes. And if you put that money in an index fund, so that itself, it could turn into million over 20, 30 years by the time retired. So the tools, what you can do is, there is a tool called 401k. We call it a 401k. So you can contribute $23,000 per year. So that itself save $5,000 tax savings every year. So if both husband and wife does, that saves $10,000. Then there is a individual retirement account. So you can contribute $7,000. Then there is a HSA, health savings account. You can contribute closer to $8,000. Then there is a particularly if you run a business, let's say you have a LLC or S corp, because many of them here they work as a consultants through their own company. Then you can do SEP IRA, self-employed 401k, or defined pension. You can even save up to 275k, and many of them didn't have that. So besides that, when you own a business, it brings up even more opportunity to save taxes. So if they approach me, definitely I can guide them. I help hundreds of businesses to save the taxes. Again, this nothing is illegal here. It's we are just follow what the IRS rules. That's all you have to do to minimize your taxes.
Right. So how about the investments, like short-term investments and long-term funds investments, which we can plan for like after retirement?
That's correct. So actually, you don't have to wait until retirement. While you're working itself. So if you are not going to use any funds for the long term, when I say long term, more than 5 years. So I would strongly recommend either you invest in equity market, which is in index funds, or in a real estate. So those are the two type of investment tools are available. Or you can invest in startups for high risk investors. And for if you are going to use the funds within 1 or 2 years, which we call as a short term, then there are other opportunities available because the US government has a T-bills, it's called treasury bills. You can easily get around 4% return in the USA currently, or you can invest in the CDs, which is same as FT, fixed deposit in India. Here we call it a certificate of deposit, because many of them, they simply leave it in the bank checking account. They don't give any interest at all. So basically, you are losing the opportunity of earning the money, because unfortunately the inflation is still, it's pretty higher. So what is going to happen is, if you are not investing your money, that means your cash is losing the value every day because of the inflation.
Yeah, and Mari, most of the Indians, once they are they start living in US, once they want to sell the properties in India and they want to repatriation of funds from India to USA, how can they do that?
So many of them actually, they settled here maybe 20, 30 years ago. So let me quickly go through the challenges. I think when they're now, everyone decide to settle in US, so they want to sell the properties back in India. But the first issue, I think what they are going to come across is managing that property, because the parents are getting old. A lot of time they don't have the support back in India to manage that property, and the value of the currency, the exchange rate, they are getting impacted, and the power of attorney, because in order to close the deal, it takes time in India. So you need some trustworthy person to handle that. It's called the power of attorney. So you can give a power of attorney to a trusted person. Then once you sold the property, then whatever the guided value, then you can repatriate the funds by working with a chartered accountant in India. So there are paperwork like a 15C or Form A2. So there are paperwork you have to do, because the funds will go to the NRO account. Definitely you'll need at a minimum NRO account, because that's where the funds will go. Then you have to do all this required paperwork to transfer the funds here. Now we are talking about two countries, because India and US, right? So you have to file taxes in India for the property you already sold. Then you also have to file a taxes in the US also. But the good thing is, India and US are part of double tax treaty, so you don't have to pay taxes twice, but you still have to report. So in case if you paid more taxes in India, because the capital gain tax, because typically in US the capital gain taxes are less than Indian capital tax rate. So then what you can do is you can claim a foreign income tax credit. So in a way you can get it back if you overpaid your taxes. But for that you have to work with the CA and CPA in the US. Feel free to reach out to us. We have many clients in the US. We can help you with that process.
Right. And how about saving for kids' college expenses?
So here, as I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, the kids' college expenses are very high in the US.
Yeah.
There are two type of education here. One is called in-state. In-state college means wherever the state you are living, you can send your kids to that college, which is less expensive. Even that itself costs for one kid, it's easily from 100 to 150K. But if you are sending your kid out of state, that it'll be, even for one kid, it'd be easily $250,000, 250K. So to plan for that, there is a scheme called 529. It's called College Savings Plan. So you can start saving up to $18,000 per kid per year. And the good thing is you can invest in an index fund, and whatever the gains will be completely tax free as long as you use the funds for your kids' education. And there is also a minor Roth. So there are a lot of tools available for college savings to plan for it.
Right. And Mari, like you're providing summer internship program in finance and investments domain for high school students. So how is it going? That's a great initiative, of course, for that. We have to congratulate you. So how is it going?
Yeah, it's going good. So in the past 5 years, I've trained closer to 100 kids, because unfortunately in the US, the people who are working in the personal finance, you won't see many Indian like me or Asian. So very few people get into this profession. As you know, Indians typically they'll go for IT, right? So I'm trying to give this opportunity so the kids can explore if they are interested there, so they can pursue the finance and investment. So it's going great. Yeah.
Yeah, Mari. So this is a great initiative because awareness towards financial awareness is really important, especially when Indians come and settle down in US. It is really important because now we have come to know that how to do why will is really important, and also financial and investment purpose and everything. But how did your journey? How is your journey all through these years? From studying in the college and getting that certification, and then now providing internship.
Yeah, so the journey I liked it, right? Because I like to help the people as much as I can. So it helps me to connect with our community, and I try to attend a lot of events in person so that I can understand that their issues are not only the financial and the emotional, and bringing up the family here so that I can relate and I understand. Plus, I'm living here almost more 25 years, so I can. And as you said, my background, I started as IT, but I graduated my MBA in finance and CFA, and get interested in finance and investments, and started my own business and helping families and business in the US. And it's a great journey. I love it, and trying to help people as much as I can.
Can we know something about Samatva Wealth Management? How does that work?
So the Samatva Wealth Management, it's a registered investment advisory firm. So we don't sell any products. We are a fiduciary investment advisor. So we only work for the clients. So we only get the fees from the clients, no commission, no referral, anything like that. And we provide two type of services. One is for business consulting, which includes planning all the taxes, how to save taxes, how to set up a company. So in the US, many people don't have. It's particularly people who are in India, they can actually set up a business in US and expand their business. There is a LLC, S corp, C corp. We can set up any kind of entity across 50 states in the US and provide all the tax compliance and also file taxes. So that's one part. And along with that, we also, for families, we provide a personal finance, which includes provide the financial planning, retirement planning, the kids' financial planning, or move the funds from India to here, NRI fund repatriation. Even I help with EB5 investment visa. Many people don't have, because nowadays getting green card is very difficult. But there is a visa called EB5. It's an investment visa. But for that, you have to invest at least 800K, but you can get the green card in a couple of years. But for that, it's very important to analyze the investment because which is a huge capital investment. So I provide that consulting also. So we provide wide range of services. So it will be kind of a personal family office, financial office, plus the business consulting. So that's what Samatva Wealth Management provides.
Yeah, and also Mari, Indians, when they come to USA to live there, they have some insecurities, they have some questions, they have some dilemmas about investments or tax benefits or something else. So how is that we can contact you directly, by person or through phone call or taking an appointment?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so they can go to my website or www.samatwa.us, or I think in the screen you can see my email address mari@samatwa.us, or you can reach out to me. My phone number 301-758-4052 through WhatsApp. So pretty much you can reach out through phone, email, or check out my website. And one more thing, I also wrote a small ebook which is available in my website under the blog. It's only 30-page ebook. So I've documented all the things, whatever I've talked. I know we talked maybe 10-15 minutes. It's very short amount of time, but in the ebook, I've captured in more detailed of all these topics. So you don't have to become my client, but if you have time, please read that ebook. I think it's going to help you a lot. Pretty much, I captured whatever is needed for those people who are migrating from India to here, or many people for whatever reason they may have to go back to India, but still you might have a lot of assets in the US. So how to handle that? So I wrote a very detailed steps in my ebook. I'm pretty sure it will help you save taxes or investments or all the aspects of it.
So, Mari, finally, do you have anything to say for our viewers, TV9 USA viewers, about the importance of financial, like investments or financial security?
Yeah, so all I recommend is plan it now because any profession, I know people, we can make hundreds, thousands of dollars now, but when you work for a company or for an industry, it always go through ups and downs because there is always a recession. Nobody can predict. So that's why it's very important proactively plan for your budget. Obviously, if you spend more than what you earn, it's not sustainable. So that's why, again, quickly recap, manage your risk very well, which is very important. Save your taxes and then invest that funds. Don't gamble because we all know how the gamble is going to end up. So be an investor, take a long-term view, and I think you will be successful and your family will be successful.
Thank you so much, Mari, for joining us, joining our TV9 USA, because this is really important. Financial planning is really important, especially when we are living in some other country. We have to plan for our future kids too. So that's a very important guidance, Mari. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for TV9 for giving this opportunity. Thank you.